It has been a whole week since the conclusion of Spookala. I want to unpack my mind from such an amazing weekend and make sure my thoughts stay on track and provide y'all with a complete, honest recap. First and foremost, though, I would like to thank Spookala for having me. Before I get into the recap, I want to give you all a little bit of a backstory. So I didn't even know about the event until the week of the event. After I saw some artwork from an artist friend of mine, Primo Cardinelli. Primo done this painting of Corey Taylor in his current Slipknot mask, which I did not take Primo as a Slipknot fan, which he could have easily had someone request a Corey Taylor painting done. So I originally thought maybe it was a customer who asked for it, but I went to go share his post after doing some errands, and the first two posts on his page was about Spookala, and I quickly figured out Corey Taylor was going to be a special guest at it. So at that time, I still didn't even know when the event was going to take place or anything like that, so I'd done a little bit more digging, and unfortunately it was the week of, so I was like, I probably can't get in it, but just something about it was saying, hey, reach out and talk to him. So I reached out to him, and if you've never had a table at an event, you do not typically get a table at the event if you're trying to get a table the week of that event. But I reached out, sent an email, they quickly responded back, and I was just one step closer to making it to Spookala because I got accepted and everything turned out great on that end, real quick reply and such. But unfortunately, the only person I had that I trusted to watch my kids was going to go out of town throughout the week and be gone the weekend of. I tried to reach out to some of my family members, some other friends, and it just was not looking like I was going to have a babysitter because it is a horror themed convention, so some of my kids I didn't think would like it too much. They might be a little freaked out by it, so I didn't know if they would be able to go. Plus, with it being on such a short notice, my wife didn't have time to take off from work, so it was starting to look like just because I got approved, it wasn't going to be able to happen. um, Fortunately, in a way, fortunate, unfortunate, the duality. My friend who ended up being able to babysit for me, his plans got canceled. So I bribed him to, say, hey, kind of postpone your plans if I can get an autograph from Corey Taylor. Which he did, so I got me a babysitter, so everything turned out the way it needed to, and it just, the whole weekend was like fate was working its magic. And by the week of, I mean, I didn't find out about it until Monday prior to the event. So, just 4 days before the event, I didn't find out about it. I hadn't even looked at the guest list yet. All I knew was Corey Taylor was going to be there, and I'm working on doing some stuff with music again that I haven't done in years. And of course, I've written books, so I do share a lot of interest with Corey Taylor since he does Slipknot, Stone Sour, and his own solo music. And he also writes some books, if you didn't know. So, it was just, this has got to happen. I've got to talk to him, maybe pass on my books to him if he's willing to take them. And it just, I needed to go. But I finally looked at the guest list, and I'm actually going to be at another event with some of the guests. So I figured, hey, perfect time to introduce myself without having to fight with my crazy kids and keep them corralled. So, say, hey, I'll see you again, but, not having to wrangle up a couple of kids who want to run off and such. So, And I at least had a short conversation with almost all the guests, except for Harvey Gillen, Ari Lemon, and Andrew Bernierowski. I did have a brief conversation with Wrinkles the Clown about how the masks was, since I do understand how hot they can get, because if I do get the music stuff going, I will be wearing a mask, and it does get very hot, sweaty, and hard to breathe in, so I got to talk to him about that. I had a brief conversation with Felisa Rose, who will be at one of my upcoming events also. Michael Berryman, Tom Morga, Tom Matthews, and I did get to have a little bit more of a conversation with Naomi Grossman than the others, which she'll also be at the same event with Felisa Rose. And I can't go into details on some of the conversations that took place with Naomi, but I basically, all I got to say to Spencer Charnas of Ice Nine Kills is, hey, how's the wrist after signing so many autographs on both the days? Because his lines were always super long. And that's about all the interaction with Spencer I got. There was a couple of wrestlers there at Spookala, which I haven't watched pro wrestling in several years, but I grew up around the independent circuit, so I know how tedious it can be being a wrestler. I even tried out to be a wrestler for pro. I actually wrestled in high school, but I haven't watched it on the pro level in years. But I do have a tremendous amount of respect for wrestlers. They do a lot of things, put their body in danger a lot of times, and I've never heard of them before. But Danhausen was at Spookala only on Friday though, so I only got to talk to him on Friday since that's the only day he was there. He was great conversations with him, really nice guy to talk to, and his wrestling persona is pretty unique, so if you've never checked out Danhausen, you gotta check him out. It's a pretty unique persona and character. I did meet Malachi Black, got to talk with him and his wife, actually, and I only heard of him under a different wrestling name through a video game I used to play, still play it every once in a while, but in the storyline mode, my created superstar was Steven Onyx, and they would tag team me and him, so our tag team name would be Black Onyx. So he dug that. He thought that was pretty cool. And his wife was super sweet. Got to talk to her a couple of times actually throughout the weekend. And there was two other wrestlers who were not listed as special guests because they were actually at a booth called Keaton's Collectibles. But I got to see and talk to them all 3 days. And Ryzen, he's a great down-to-earth guy. Got to talk to him, bug him every day, you know, had some funny conversations with him. And I've actually met Leva Bates at an event, my very first big event. I got to meet her at about 2 years ago, before the thing happened. And talked about that event a little bit with her. And she's got a really great personality. They both do. They draw you in. They're very super nice people. I think they're technically heels, but nothing but respect and love for them. I hope they have a long, healthy career, and they're great people to chat with. And there's some more people on the guest list, but I'll get to them in a minute. I was roaming around the event a lot more than I probably should have, but I had some great neighbors as well that I did talk to a good amount. Carlos Aurelio, he's a talented artist that he has an original take on some of the classics. One of the artwork that really drew me into it was he had what, I can't think of the classical painting, but it was King of the Hill in like one of the classical paintings. should have looked it up for this, but it was really unique and awesome. All of his artwork's awesome. I love all the artists. They all have their own take on art, and everybody has their own individual style and outlook on art. So I love the artists. They're all great. Steph Cannon and Matt Knowles with Insymmetry Creations was also my neighbors. Matt actually hosted all the panels, so I mostly got to talk with Steph, but I did talk to Matt here and there. They do some comic books and also put out some music to go along with the comics, so they have a great booth set up and really great people to talk to, and a lot of these events is about the connections you make. Whatever level they're on, you're on, if you can make connections, it's always great. My neighbor behind me was Joe with Jekyll's Basement, and this was his first ever event. He had a bunch of like the vintage toys and some videos and a whole bunch of other stuff, and got to talk to him quite a bit, and he was chasing his dream of owning his own shop. And you know, that's always great to hear someone chasing their dream, no matter what it is, and it working out for them. I had another artist neighbor. I did not get her information, fortunately, but she was very talented as well. Like I said, love the artists. They're all different. How her technique is, actually, she uses a magnifying glass to make these very small drawings. I mean, super small. They're maybe a little bit bigger than a stamp, or right about the same size of a stamp, and it was amazing artwork. She draws them all by using a magnifying glass. So I did not get her information, unfortunately. And then right across from me was Ash Tig Designs, and she makes custom hats, jewelry, coasters, and other types of crafts. And she was actually with a fellow con friend of mine that I've met at a past event, Mike the Magician, very talented magician, I should say. He has quite a few magic tricks. I actually got some coasters from her with the trade for I got fingerprints on that one, for my wife to have some coasters so she'll stop leaving her drinks on my countertops and such. And Pure Alchemy Soaps was also my neighbor, who I haven't met before at an event, and I actually was like, man, I need to get up with them about my soaps again. I got Chaotic Neutral, Sorcerer, and Dragonborn. I think I had Ranger and Dragonborn and something else. I can't remember what the other one was last time. But I also got 2 bars of Bard because it smelled so nice. And I got my soaps replenished from them again. It's Pure Alchemy Soaps. And I also had the Fox's Den as in like catacorner behind me neighbor. I got these candle holders from them. So, and also, they weren't direct neighbors of me, but they were in my eye shot. I shot just down the aisle. Crawling Panther Tattoos with Stefan. They had their artwork that they drew up for their tattoos. They had some videos there as well, and just showed off their tattoo shop's artwork that they've done. And a bunch of great people with Crawling Panther Tattoos down in Ocala. So, there's also just a handful of fellow authors Um, I briefly talked to W.M. Walters, and I didn't get to talk to him, but I've met him before, but Nick Savage, but I don't think he had any of his books there. I didn't get to talk to him at this event, but I did meet him before at an event. And I got to talk with Russell James a little bit, and I got to see Mark Muncy again, which he's a great author. He's actually written some stuff about my area with the Erie, Florida stuff. So he's awesome to talk to, and I actually learned something about my own city thanks to him, you know. And I got to meet and chat with Maria DeVivo, and we actually share some of the same similar mindsets on certain aspects of writing and all this stuff. So she was great to talk to, and when I had the chance to. And this was my first big event period since my dad passed away, which my mom passed away 2 years, and my dad's passed away, so it's been just one thing after other type deal these last 2 years. And yeah, I couldn't stand still. I couldn't stay right at my table the whole time. I walked around, greeted people, guided them to my table if they wanted to come by, you know, type deal. And it's just mostly to experience the whole thing, and it was a great experience. There was so many varying crafts, arts, and items, and I discovered new booths that I didn't see just an hour or so before. I was finding booths that I didn't see before. They had things like handmade lightsabers from Space Ninja sabers, handmade crafts from the shop in the Mushroom Woods, which I was entrusted with taking her little boy to the bathroom, which was an honor because I didn't have my kids with me, and it was nice to have someone trust me and a complete stranger, and because I know how hard it is to trust someone with your kids. So I was like, I can either take your son to the bathroom or watch your table, either way, you know. And her little boy was just like my little boys, being little boys, wanting to play with the hand dryer and all this, and I might have been gone maybe only 5 minutes, but it felt like half an hour, and I'm like, oh my god, she's going to kill me because I'm gone for so long. But she had a whole bunch of awesome stuff. My wife's going to actually contact her about some ears and tails that she makes. And Monkey Skull, they had some awesome handmade crafts as well. And Mini Mumbling Mice makes these candles, handmade candles, and it smells so good I don't want to light it. And there's even little gems in it. So, very amazing fragrance. And they even had shirts. I'm actually wearing it. Alien Entities. So, I did do some trades for this stuff mostly, but it's not just promoting them. Like I said, there was a whole bunch of vendors there. I mean, there was countless artists like Primo and Carlos. You know, they're all have their own style, their own type. Some of them are painters, some of them use ink, some of them don't use either of those, you know. So, definitely give them a check out. My wife is actually the editor of this video, and she should have already posted. If she hasn't by now, she will probably edit this part out. Good chance to edit it out. Let me see what you got. But there's so many vendors that were there that it would take me hours to list them all and explain what all they done. But Saturday was supposed to be the big day, because that was the first day that Corey Taylor was going to be there signing autographs and also doing a performance, which Spencer Tarnas of Ice Nine Kills is also doing an acoustic show that day as well. And Cherry Bombs were doing a dance performance. And I started running low on Hitchhiker. So I went to go crack open the box that I took for backup, and they were not Hitchhiker. They were all Zombie Earth. So I had left without my extra stock of Hitchhiker. So all I had was what I had left over from my previous event on the table. I had like 3 Hitchhikers, I believe, left. And I got up with my wife and my friend who was watching my kids, and they drove all the way down to Ocala, 3.5 hours, to bring me my box. So, it wasn't looking like I was going to have an opportunity to talk to Corey Taylor to get my friend that autograph either. And I promised him, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to get you that autograph. But, like I didn't mention some of the guests yet because of the conversations we did have. It helped spark something that I lost a while back. Back when my mom passed away, it was kind of hard to get back into writing and get in the mood for creating and doing events, talking about my dreams, inspiring other dreams, you know. So it's been a real roller coaster ride. And these guests that I've not forgotten about, leaving for this section here, really helped spark that again. They genuinely showed interest in my work. They were an inspiration for me to keep on writing, to keep on doing what I'm doing, to instill that I'm on the right path. We are dreams. We do not exist. We create our existence. And if through my journey I help inspire others to chase their dreams, I have all the success in the world. So getting my stories into the hands of others, either by trading for them, gifting them, or just selling them, it makes my dream a reality. So, but Mark Burnham, after I had a conversation about forgetting my box of Hitchhikers, he's like, oh man, if you hadn't already signed my book, I would have gave it back, so, you know, you would at least had the one, you know, which I got to talk to him all 3 days. He's a really great guy, amazing to talk to, really down to earth. So despite portraying a serial killer in the Texas Chainsaw Murders on Netflix, he's, you know, really great guy. And, you know, he's one of the first ones I talked to who really helped spark that, hey, I'm on the right path, I'm doing things the right way. And my main goal was to get Corey's signature and get Corey Taylor copies of my books, but Mark has copies, a couple other people have copies who, yeah, but, so, where was I? See, even with notes I get off track. So Amber, time to work your magic. Don't make me look like a jerk. No. So finally, around 5 o'clock, Corey Taylor's line was getting kind of short, and I knew he had a performance coming up around 7, so I decided to shoot my shot, and walked up, and Mike, the guy who's in control of the line, gave me the opportunity to get the autographs that I came there for, and talk to Corey Taylor a little bit briefly. I got to show him my mask that he signed, and he claims he remembered the color scheme, but you know, that's been years ago, and I don't remember everything from the events I've been to, so he seemed to have remembered it. So that was neat. It was a good talking shop with him a little bit. That evening after the event was closed down for the evening, I went and met up with my friend and my wife to go pick up the box of Hitchhikers, and I surprised them with the autographs from Corey Taylor and the others autographs that I got, because since it was looking like I wasn't going to get Corey Taylor's autograph, I went ahead and got Mark Burnham's autograph for my friend. So, and I also went ahead and sent all the autographs with them home, so I didn't leave them or forget them, because I placed Mark's autograph to myself in a safe place, and I forgot where that safe place was, and I was frantically looking all over the place for it, and thought I lost it, and felt so bad about it, and I found it, so I was like, I'm getting these back home ASAP, so I don't potentially lose them again. And at the hotel, I kept waking up at oddball hours. I woke up at like 3 in the morning one morning and 4 in the other next morning type deal. And I finally get back to sleep to get a little cat nap before the event. But Sunday, I overslept. Like, VIP doors were already open whenever I woke up. And so I was rushing out the door. And I met a couple who was attending Spookala, and they had personal stuff going on that I was compelled to give them a copy of Hitchhiker and Zombie Earth. So, yet again, the whole weekend, even with waking up late Sunday, just felt like fate, you know. And hopefully, I helped make their weekend even more memorable. So another special guest was Quinn Lord, and through another con friend of mine, Pika Belichu, she came there to attend, not vend or anything like that. She gave me the honor of letting me in on a secret that Quinn Lord would be accompanying her in the cosplay contest, which shocked the crowd. They had a huge surprise when he took the mask off, and I also got to talk to Miko Hughes all 3 days, and so he gave me but I got an autograph for my wife, and I haven't watched Pet Sematary in ages, and she actually had to explain the line to me in the autograph, because it was like, no, I want to play with you too, or something. She'll post the picture up, so she can probably edit me saying that. So, she explained to me the line, and I told him about, I didn't even read what you signed until I was walking back to my table. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here, you know? And actually, my youngest son is like a spitting image of Miko as a kid. So, I've gotten to talk with Miko quite a bit. Really great guy also. And Mark, really great guy. All the guests were great. But just these guests I got to talk to more, so they really, you know, made the weekend even more special. I got to talk to Dave Sheridan about the Hitchhiker, and he was really stoked to check it out. I actually didn't know he was in The Walking Deceased, and kind of felt like a doofy for not realizing that, because I actually have seen it, and it's actually a pretty good movie. Really entertaining. Not for kids, though. And I got to confess to Mike Christopher, which is who gave me this poster, actually, that I wrote Zombie Earth because I'm not really into the whole zombie genre. Nothing really explains how a zombie outbreak could happen, or how a human could come back to life after dying, so I wanted to write something that would be believable. And, you know, I'm just really grateful for having this opportunity to reach out to everyone that was at Ocala for Spookala. And I got to infect Ocala with Zombie Art finally, officially, and it was a truly amazing experience. The only thing that could have made it even better would have been if my wife and kids were able to go and experience it as well. And everyone I've talked to had a great time. I had a great time. It was a great event. If you missed it, I suggest making it next year. I don't know if I'll be able to make it next year or not. I may or may not can predict the future. But there was a great lineup of special guests. The vendors I got to talk to were all wonderful. There was plenty of amazing panels and performances, and the performances people will probably talk about for years to come. And if I ever do get to run my own event, because I've talked about this in the past, I want to try to get something going for an event myself. It was ran like how I would want my event to run. You got your performances, your panels, your vendors, and everybody is treated well. And it was just a great experience. So to summarize, if I had to say what my favorite thing about Spookala was, I couldn't tell you. It was all good. So thank you for tuning in, and until next time.